Hello everyone, we've got a brand new Unearthed Arcana coming from Dungeons & Dragons today. Is Unearthed Arcana 2026 Mystic Subclasses. We're going to go over those subclasses. We also have a vote now in place where you can vote for your favorite subclass that you're excited for from this. It's a little, not to be confused with the Mystic class that existed several years ago. This is several subclasses, in fact, that are all kind of mystically related in some way. So we're going to dive in, and then we'll do kind of a Q&A, ask me anything type segment at the end of this. But we're going to run through all of these live. I have not read through these, but I'm excited to dive in right away. If you do a super chat, I will definitely address those right away. We've got one already from Todd GRX for $1.99. Yeah, I love live streams. I love live streaming as well. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what we've got going on. So, Unearthed Arcana 2026 Mystic Subclasses. This playtest document is part of a series of Unearthed Arcana articles that present material designed for upcoming projects. The material here uses the rules of the 2024 Player's Handbook. I just want to remind everyone, as someone who used to work at Wizards, they do look at this playtest feedback. The best way that you can provide feedback for playtest materials in UA is to fill out the survey. Certainly, people are paying attention to comments on social media, YouTube, all of the different channels that Wizards of the Coast has. But the best way is play these subclasses, leave your feedback in the survey. That's the best way to do this, okay? Thank you. All right, moving on. I still care a lot about Unearthed Arcana, as you can tell. And the feedback is crucial to improving the game and finding out what folks want to see in the future. So let's go ahead and dive in. Just getting situated right here. I've got a billion windows. All right, so we've got the Monk Warrior of the Mystic Arts. We've got the Paladin Oath of Spellguard. We've got the Rogue Magic Stealer and the Warlock Vestige Patron, all in the Unearthed Arcana 2026 Mystic subclasses. This is playtest material, and as I said, often and always, leave your feedback in the survey after you've played these classes, these subclasses. That is crucial to the development of D&D. Please fill out the survey after you've gotten a chance to absorb this playtest material, and hopefully you've gone to play it as well. So let's go and dive into what we're looking at here. We've got the Warrior of the Mystic Arts, the Monk. Weave, Martial, and Mystic Arts. That's brevity right there. That's a one-liner. Warriors of Mystic Arts wield magic to supplement their martial skill. They harness their supernatural focus to enhance their magical and physical abilities. So at level 3, Capstone, you've learned to cast spells. And you got cantrips. You know 2 cantrips of your choice from the Sorcerer's spell list. Blade Ward and Thunderclap are recommended. Whenever you gain a monk level, you can replace one of these cantrips. That's fantastic. And your choices come from the Sorcerer's spell list. When you reach level 10, Monk, you learn another Sorcerer cantrip of your choice. Spell slots. Oh, wow. This is a half caster. Interesting for a monk. So, surprising. Certainly. The Warrior of the Mystic Arts spellcaster. Spellcasting table shows you how many spell slots you have to cast at level 1 spells. You regain all expended slots when you finish a long rest. How absolutely wild is it to have a partial casting monk? I don't know that we really had one. I know that the original Assassin Prestige class had multiple spell effects, but they didn't have actual spell casting in that format. So you get prepared spells. We know how prepared spells work. And this doesn't look to be any different than we typically see with a partial or half caster on top of everything else. You can change your prepared spells as normal. You've got a spellcasting ability for your sorcery spells. Spellcasting focus. You can use an arcane focus as a spellcasting focus for your sorcery spells. And there's multiclassing as well. So all of that looks good. I am taking a while to absorb the fact that we can cast spells as a monk. So, level 6, Mystic Focus. You keep your magical power and martial focus in perfect balance, allowing you to convert spell slots into focus points or convert focus points into spell slots. That is wild. This is very sorcerer coded, but using your focus points, using your sorcery points, kind of interesting connective tissue in using point systems for these. Converting spell slots to focus points, you can expend a spell slot to regain a number of expended focus points equal to the spell slot level. Interesting. Recovering spell slots. As a bonus action, you can transform unexpended focus points to recover one expended spell slot. The recovery spell slots table shows you the cost of recovering the spell slot of a given level, unless a minimum monk level you must be to recover a slot. You can recover a spell slot no higher than level 4. Wild. I'm going to have to make a couple of character builds to really see how this monk works, mixing both the martial and the magic. I think there's a lot of utility here. And this might be kind of the best ninja covert op. I mean, Shadow Monk is hard to beat, but this starts getting interesting when we're using sorcerer spell lists. Also at level 6, Mystic Fighting Style. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of those attacks with the casting of one of your sorcerer cantrips that has a casting time of an action. Wow, we have so many gishes. Arcane Archer is a gish coming up. We also obviously have the Eldritch Knight. Now we have a partial casting monk. We got the Blade Singer. A lot of people are replacing their attacks with casting a cantrip. Could get pretty interesting. Level 11, Centered Focus. Whenever you expend a focus point to use Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, or Step of the Wind, you have advantage on any saving throw you make to maintain concentration until the start of your next turn. Interesting. We'll have to take a look at spells that specifically you can use as a sorcerer for concentration. If you cast haste on yourself, that's going to get pretty nuts. You're moving around the battlefield really fast. Gonna have to break this one down. This is fun. It's interesting the continued... the more and more we get subclasses, the more and more we get more and more gish. I'm for it because the multiclassing of it all. I don't always enjoy multiclassing myself. I certainly have. I think my favorite archer is actually a Feywild Warlock with a 2-level dip into fighter just to get martial styles and everything else for specific reasons. So at level 17, Improved Mystic Fighting Style. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace 2 of those attacks with a casting of one of your level 1 to level 2 sorcery spells that has a casting time of an action. Sacrificing 2 of your attacks. Interesting. Yeah. It's an interesting monk. I think this is the one that's going to probably be a everything in this UA to be the most fiddly and need the most feedback. When you're looking at, on top of just the adjudication of having to manage all of your focus points and being a monk, that's a lot of work. But now you're diving into spell slots and converting spell slots into focus points or focus points into spell slots and learning about different magical interactions and stuff like that. This is a full-time job, this monk. I'm very curious of what can be built out of it. Sacrificing 2 your attacks feels pretty steep to cast a leveled spell level 1 or 2 sorcery spells that has a casting time of an action. That feels not necessarily as powerful as I want it to be, and that feels like a heavy cost. Certainly you get a lot of attacks as a monk. I just don't feel like a level 1 or level 2 sorcery spell has the scalability that is on par with this. This is something that is, at my first glance, I'm wondering if maybe this could be more powerful. That's just my off the cuff kind of wondering. But this is UA, and there's plenty of time for things to change. And your feedback is what's going to matter, and that's why we're here. So, Oath of the Spellguard Paladin. Protect your allies from villainous magic. Paladins who take this oath of the Spellguard are sworn to battle those who use magic to harm others. They often serve as bodyguards or upstanding mages, but their most important role is protecting allies from devastating attacks. Those who swear this oath ensure that villains who misuse magic are brought into justice. These paladins share the following tenets: protect the innocent from wicked mages, prevent magic from falling into villainous hands, and protect mages who use magic honorably. We got Guardian Bond, and I love stuff like this. I love being a tank. This has a tanky vibe. As a magic action, you can expend one of your channel divinities to forge a divine bond with a willing creature within 5 feet of yourself. Wonder why it has to be 5 feet. The bond lasts for 1 hour or until you have the unconscious condition. For the duration, while the bonded creature is within your reach and is hit by an attack roll, you can take a reaction to add your charisma modifier minimum +1 to the creature's AC, possibly causing the attack to miss. That's pretty cool. It's basically like you casting shield on someone else. You can end your divine bond at any time, no action required. If you already have a divine bond, when you forge a new one, the previous bond ends. That makes sense. That's really fun. Give someone a little bit of boost. There's some good interaction with a variety of feasts that are also included in the game. So if you've, a combination of Shield Master and Protection, you could be quite the tank, keeping one of your glass cannons constantly, bumping up their AC, giving someone disadvantage on the attack roll. So interesting. I love playing any type of tank. I think this is pretty nice. Coming out strong, really. When you think about the fighting styles and the feats that you can stack on top of this, you can really protect your allies. And then you're looking at things like Warding Bond, where you're taking half the damage they take. You can keep one of your glass cannon fellow party members, alive for a significant amount of time if you just hang back with them. Problem is, you're hanging back with them is the other issue. Oath of the Spellguard spells. The magic of your oath ensures that you have certain spells ready when you reach Paladin level specified, blah, blah, blah. Level 3, we get Detect Magic and Shield. Makes sense. Oh my god. A Paladin with Shield. A shield with a shield. Who's going to hit someone in full plate armor and a shield while casting shield? This is some nasty business. See invisibility, silence. Silence is nasty. That shuts down a lot of vocal components. See invisibility is handy. Counterspell, nasty business. Dispel magic, nasty. Freedom of movement, nice. Odaluk's resilient sphere, great. Circle of power, cool. And hollow, nice. I actually really like that spell list. When you see a creature within your reach at level 3, casting a spell with verbal, somatic, or material components, this is why we play Aberrant Mind Sorcerers, everybody, you can take a reaction to make a melee attack with a weapon or an unarmed strike against that creature. This is very Mage Slayer feat oriented. Level 7, Aura of Concentration. Your aura protection fosters mental focus. When you and your allies have advantage on Constitution saving throws against making concentration while in your aura of protection. Really handy for spellcasters who are nearby. Wow, I never thought I'd get buffed by a paladin. To this extent, as a spellcaster, that's fantastic. Level 15, and you... I mean, that's pretty clutch if someone casts haste on you. It's too bad haste isn't in this. Don't have a lot of concentration spells here in the list for this paladin, but that's pretty good, I have to say. All right. Level 15, Spellbreaking Blade. Immediately after you hit a creature with your Spellguard strike, you can use Counter Spell as part of the same reaction. Nice. Oh, wow. I mean, this is level 15. This is like a top tier, high level game. You attack someone as part of that reaction, and then you also you can cast Counter Spell with a spell slot. Wow. Let me check something right here. Spellguard Strike. When you see a creature within your reach, okay, they have to be within your reach, so we're not talking like a bow paladin. This is a melee attack. Interesting. Man, if you close up on a spellcaster with this sucks for the spellcaster. It's pretty rough. So, I mean, you can smite them too. Do a bunch of damage. They cast a spell. You can counterspell it. Hit them at the same time. Nasty. I don't think I like it just because I tend to play spellcasters. So I'm being precious about that, but that's really strong. Level 20, Eternal Spellguard. As a bonus action, you can empower your aura protection, granting the benefits below for 1 minute until you end them. No action required. Once you use this feature, you can use it again until you finish a long rest. You can restore the use of your ability by expending a level 5 spell slot. Whoa, that's high. But Bodyguard. While the target of your guardian bond is in the aura, the creature has resistance to all damage. Bringing it back. Wow. Resistance to all damage. Level 20 game. Why not? Let's go. Protection from magic. You and your allies in the aura have advantage on saving throws against the spell. Granting the benefits below for 1 minute. All of this. You're not choosing one of these. It's all of it. So, who hates magic? While your target has resistance to all damage, you and your allies have advantage on all saving throws, and spell ward, spell attack rolls against you and your allies in this aura have disadvantage. This is so powerful. I mean, why be Vecna when you've got level 20 capstones like this? Okay. This is a nasty paladin. Good. Poof. I don't even know how to react. That is one of the most powerful. That is the most powerful paladin capstone I've ever seen. I think that is strong. And that's why we have Unearthed Arcana. Really fun paladin. I really like this paladin. I really like the paladin's theme. Pretty cool. A little creepy. In some sense. I get that they're trying to protect people from evil mages. It does kind of feel like an evil paladin that would also be like anti-mage. Also. But this is death to spellcasters, is what that is. All right, Magic Stealer Rogue. Interesting. I always felt like the Arcane Trickster was the Magic Stealer. In fact, they can steal spells. I always liked that part of the Rogue Arcane Trickster myself, that you could grab a spell from someone that you see casting it and kind of absorb it into your own knowledge and be able to cast it yourself. It feels like that ability of the Arcane Trickster is being spun out into a subclass onto itself. I see this very often with game design, actually, where there's like one cool element to a subclass and then it gets blown out into its own subclass eventually. So yeah. Wow, what a strong paladin. I'm in shock. I feel like I've been slapped. Magic Stealer Rogue. Steal magic power to empower yourself. While ordinary thieves are cutting purses and burgling homes, a magic stealer is after a much more valuable prize, magic. The magic stealer preys on spellcasters, repurposing the magic and eluding divination spells to take magic power at the point of a knife. Love it. Love the theme. Yes. This is my type of rogue. Empower sneak attack. Immediately after a creature you can see within 30 feet of you casts a spell of level 1+ spell, you can take a reaction to absorb magic energy from that spell. When you do so, until the end of the next turn, the next time you hit with your sneak attack, you deal extra force damage. To determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to the spell's level and add them together. You can take this reaction a number of times, equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Wow. So there's no negative to using this with a party member. Immediately after a creature you can see within 30 feet of you casts a spell. There's no negative to the person doing that. You can take a reaction to absorb magic energy from that spell. When you do so until the end of your next turn, the next time you hit with your sneak attack, you deal extra force damage. To determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to the spell's level. Wow. This is a level 3. Now, you are burning a reaction. So, reactions are really important for rogues. But if you're with a fellow spellcaster who is a friend or an enemy, 30 feet, they're casting a 9th level spell, you get now 96 on your next sneak attack. Damage roll. That is Nova damage. Certainly losing your reaction, big deal. But this is a power play. This is the party working together to maximum effort damage. So strong. So strong. I really like it. And I love that concept of a magic stealing rogue. Level 3, train magic. As if that wasn't enough, everybody. You really gotta think about when you want to do this, and that's what I like about it. Because there is sacrifice. Losing your reaction sucks. And that's good on the designs front, because powering up force damage onto a sneak attack is pretty wild. It's your next sneak attack. I am not seeing a time limit of any kind either. So you've got that force damage powered up. Oh no, when you do so until the end of your next turn. Yeah. That's the time limit on this. Level 3, Drain Magic. You can drain power from ongoing spells to recharge your allies' magic. As a magic action, you can touch a willing creature and end one ongoing level 1 or level 2 spell on it. The creature immediately recovers one expended spell slot of level 2 or lower of the target's choice. When you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. You can't abuse this for the sake of a warlock, but if you have a warlock who's casting because warlocks have multiple abilities where you can just kind of spam level 1 spells and level 2, so they can't really benefit from themselves because a warlock's spell slots, automatically become level 2, level 3. They max out, so eventually this isn't really helping a warlock. But but you can kind of like steal magic from a Warlock that's not really losing anything, because one of their eldritch invocations is, you can spam a whole bunch of different powers. That can be nice. I mean, it's not overpowered by any means, even if you do that for a Warlock, for the benefit of like a wizard or something like that. Though very handy for like half casters or partial casters like Paladins. I'm really trying to think of the kind of the utility of all that. So if you've got Mask of Many Faces, that's one of the ones where you can kind of spam a first level spell and constantly end the effect, and then you can help somebody else. Or wait, does it have to be that same creature? When you use this feature, you can't do it again. As magic action, you can touch a willing creature and end one ongoing spell on it. That creature immediately recovers. Oh, it has to be that creature. Okay, so you're not doing it with a Warlock. It's interesting. You have to think about that one, actually. Yeah. Magic Sabotage. You gain the following Cunning Strike options. Love that. I can't say it. Spell Susceptibility. Cost is 2d6. The target has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes against a spell until the start of its next turn. Again, very Arcane Trickster, actually. 2d6 cost is steep. Disrupt Spell. 3d6. Whew. The target's magical acuity is disrupted. Until the start of your next turn, whenever the target casts a spell during that time, it must succeed on an intelligence saving throw, very specific, or the spell dissipates with no effect. Wow. And the action, bonus action, and reaction used to cast it is wasted. If that spell was cast with a spell slot, the slot isn't expended. Well, that's something. I will get back to all the super chats that have occurred, by the way, in the stream. So if you want me to come back and find the questions or comments that you have, do a super chat, and I'll be able to find those color-coded super chats at the end of this run through, and then we'll talk about all the comments below. Target's magical acuity disrupts until the start of their next turn. Whenever the target casts a spell during that time, it must succeed on a... God. The thing is, not so scary for a wizard, but if you're doing this to a sorcerer, a paladin, I mean, almost all magic in D&D... I mean, Artificer has a better chance to survive this, but sorcerers, clerics, druids, this is... it's funny that this is nasty. Yeah, nasty to do to cleric, I guess. And now we have Steel Resistance, cost 2d6. Choose one kind of damage. If the target has resistance to that kind of damage, until the start of your next turn, the target loses that resistance, and you gain resistance to that damage type. Fun to do to a lich or a vampire that has resistance to necrotic damage, and then they lose resistance, and you gain it. You're turning the tables on them. That's really fun and situational, but fine. Okay. Level 13, Occult Shroud. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can cast the non-detection spell. Yes! Use your intelligence as your spell casting. When you do so, you can target only yourself, and the duration increases to 24 hours. Love it. No notes. And this isn't going to come up a lot. That's why we got another level 13 improved drain magic, so I'm glad. Yeah, Occult Shroud's nice. Improved drain magic. You can now use drain magic as a bonus action. Okay. In addition, when you use drain magic, you can end one ongoing level 1, 2, or 3 spell on the target, and the target recovers one expended spell slot of level 3 or lower. Again, I need to really kind of dive into the mechanics and kind of the situation of all that. Level 17, Eldritch Implosion. When you use Empower Sneak Attack, you can force the target to make a Constitution saving throw, DC 8, plus Dexterity, Proficiency bonus. I failsafe, the spell dissipates with no effect, and the target has the stun condition until the start of the next turn. I don't know. This feels like all of these classes hate mages. For those complaining that melee folks don't have power, this is nasty, nasty business. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think draining magic is... I don't think that's broken at all. I think that empowered sneak attack, I think, is the big winner. I do like getting non-detection. This is a fun rogue. And I really like the magical sabotage on top of everything else. I think that's fun. Let's move on. Vestige Patron. I love Warlocks. I think Warlocks are, weirdly enough, because of their modular nature, I find with subclass design, even with my own, I find them to almost be the easiest to do. Even though the creation of a character, you can make suboptimal Warlocks very easily because of how modular they are. I feel like but in design, you can get away with a lot of different things with Warlocks that you can't get away with in any other class. That's why I love Warlocks. So that's my soapbox. Vestige Patron. Wield the remnants of a dying god's power. I've done this. That's been kind of the origin story of many of my Warlocks. I stole some power from a god. Comes up a lot. In fact, I had a subclass I designed that was almost exactly that concept. Your pack draws on the power of a dying god, or a being once worshipped by countless followers, but now abandoned and forgotten. The dying god, known as a vestige, might have been a benevolent, evil, or strange or unknowable. But now it is driven to regain its former power. The vestige needs your help, and it is willing to share what remains of its strength with you. It's a little fist and Dantalus coded, Raceland, maybe. The Vestige level 3 Vestige Companion, the Vestige Manifest. It's actually making me think of Khonshu, actually, a little bit, if any Marvel fans are out there with Moon Knight. The Vestige manifests, aiding you to do so, and drawing strength from your pact. It uses Vestige Companion stat block, and it can be Celestial, Fiend, or Undead. Yes, Undead. You choose when you get this feature. You can determine what the vestige looks like, but regardless of its form, vestige bears features indicating its supernatural origin. For example, you might decide that your vestige is an oversized floating skull, etched with sigils and glowing runes, or constantly shifting in an abstract shape. I love all of it. The vestige is friendly to you and your allies, and obeys your commands, and it vanishes when you die. I think this is really, really fun. Yeah, I love this. I think this is really fun. Let's go ahead and get into it. The Vestige in combat. In combat, the Vestige acts in your turn. Yeah, we know this story. It can move and use its reaction on its own, dodge, unless the bonus action you choose to command it. You can also sacrifice one of your attacks when you attack. Use the attack action to command the Vestige to take its Vestige Strike action. Okay. Acts on its own, and it's limited to the dodge action if you don't give it orders. Disappearance of the vestige. When the vestige drops to 0 hit points, it disappears. You have to do a magical ceremony to resurrect it, basically. It reappears with maximum hit points and occupied space within 5 feet of you as a magic action. And it gets dismissed to the vestige to a pocket dimension as magic action. While it is temporarily dismissed, you can cause the vestige to reappear. Yeah, we know this story. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can summon the vestige in a new form, which it appears in the unoccupied space. Woo! A lot of verbiage to bringing it back. Let's kind of take a look at the vestige. It's interesting. The Warlock already has the best familiar in D&D, and it has several different powers that level up that familiar to become arguably the best pet class already. On top of having a vestige companion, this stacks and gets pretty nasty, potentially. So this scales nicely. 4 times your Warlock level for hit points. Speed is 5 feet or flies 30 feet. Hover. Interesting. Resistance. So if it's a fiend, resistance to fire, necrotic for undead, radiant for celestials, immune to frightened, prone, or charmed. 60-foot dark vision. Not too bad. Yeah. Pact Bond. Add your proficiency bonus to its saving throws. Naturally, Vestige Strike, melee or ranged attack rolls equal to the spellcasting modifier. We know all that stuff. Bonus action, Divine Power. Your Vestige manifests a remnant of its divine power in one of the following ways. For undead, Cursed Invocation, the Vestige places a curse on a creature that you can see within 30 feet of the Vestige for 1 minute. While cursed, the target has disadvantage on attack rolls against you and the Vestige. There is no saving throw. Okay. I'll take it. No saving throw. Love it. Fiend Swap. Fiend only. If you and the Vestige are within 60 feet of you, of each other, you can both teleport, swapping places like that. Healing Touch. Celestials only. Vestige touches another creature. The target regains hit points equal to 2d8 plus your charisma modifier. That's really nice. Yeah. And loses blinded, deafened, or poison. So you can do a little bit of Celestial Warlock doing Healing Touch is nice. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. It's a nasty bit of business. Level 3 Vestige spells. The magic of your Vestige companion ensures that you have certain spells at the ready. Select one of the following cleric domains. Life, Light, Trickery, or War. The domain spells of your chosen domain are Warlock spells for you. When you reach a Warlock level equal to the cleric level listed on the domain spell table of the domain, you can choose thereafter. Oh my. Gain access to cleric spells. For example, if you choose the War domain, for this feature, when you reach Warlock level 3, you can choose from Guiding Bolt, Magic Weapon, Shield of Faith, and Spiritual Weapon as spells prepared. Man. I still feel like Trickery domain has one of the best spell lists, but I think there might be some overlap with the Warlock. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun to make some builds with. This is powerful. Powerful stuff. Level 6. Your Vestige companion now regains its use of divine power whenever you finish a short or long rest, or when you use your magic cunning feature. Oh, wow. Level 10, Aura Power. Your Vestige companion increases in magical strength as a magic action. You can cause the Vestige to manifest an aura of 30 feet emanation that originates from the Vestige. The aura lasts as a number of hours equal to your charisma modifier, or until the Vestige disappears or is dismissed. Your Vestige and your allies within the aura gain resistance to fire, necrotic, and radiant damage. Ooh. While 3. So everything up until now has been based off who you choose as your Vestige. Why would you gain resistance to all 3 of these? Resistance to fire, resistance to necrotic, and resistance to radiant damage. Not complaining, just thematically, it seems like it would be only one of those. And have immunity to the charmed and frightened condition. Once you manifest this aura, you can't do so again until a long rest. In addition, when you drop to 0 hit points while within the aura, you instead change your hit points to a number equal to your Warlock level plus your charisma modifier. The Vestige is then dismissed. Wow. You're not going to die. Aura power is nasty, nasty business. Yeah, it's good. I don't think it's OP. Just in 3 different directions at once. Semblance of Life. Your Vestige companion continues to grow in strength, and with your assistance, it can briefly adopt a more powerful form. Depending on the Vestige type, you can cast one of the following spells within the while the Vestige is within 90 feet of you, without expending a spell slot or needing material components. Summon Celestial. Great. If you're a Celestial Vestige. Summon Fiend. Fiend Vestige, or Summon Undead. Great. When you cast a spell within this feature, the Vestige becomes that summoned creature. Very cool. It gains game stats and are replaced by the summoned creature stat block. Spell level is equal to half your Warlock level. Nice. And the spell's duration is 1 minute. When the spell ends, the Vestige returns to its previous form, so cool. This is the Warlock. If you love pet classes, this is the pet class for you, everybody. Wow. I'm going to have to unpack this one. This is probably the best one in the UA. What does everyone think of? How's that vote going, everybody? So that's Unearthed Arcana, the Mystic classes. Mystic subclasses. I like the Warlock. Super fun. I like the theme. Everything's magical. We're getting gishes left and right. I like the rogue. I don't know if I would commit to that rogue for levels 1 through 20. Vestige Patron, super fun, helpful, and checks a lot of boxes. You're layering that in with a familiar. I'm wondering if the action economy of having that kind of super powerful familiar that Warlocks can already get with Pact of the Chain starts butting heads with the Vestige Patron as well. Yeah, I kind of need to daydream about these, if that makes sense. I think we all do this, where we would look at these new subclasses and we're like, okay, what kind of character would I make with this? What kind of story would I craft around that? This is what I love about Warlocks is I feel like every single type of Warlock you can play has built-in story. More than any other class in D&D. Though I would argue Sorcerer also, you figure out the origins of your Sorcerer, so that's a big part of it. But you always have this narrative hook. The monk is strange for its capstone. Improved mystic fighting. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace 2 of your attacks with a casting of 1 of your level 1 or 2 sorcerer spells. That has a casting time of an action. I think this doesn't... This is going to probably get the most feedback, I would say. It just... I see where they're going with it. I think maybe it's not worded the right way, because this doesn't really have... For a level 17 capstone, this feels not optimized. I mean, even for a low-level capstone. Yeah. I mean, you still get flurry of blows, don't you? Yeah. Okay. So I think Oath of the Spellguard really strong. I mean, super strong. The Paladin is nasty. Magic Stealer is fun. Vestige Patron may be the most powerful out of this entire group. Let's go back to the camera. Interesting. All right. So, I've been just talking this whole time. I think we have a bunch of super chats, so let me kind of dive into that. I love new stuff. Let's go all the way up to the top. We got our first one. Yes, I love I love live streams from Todd GRX. Very cool. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. $5 super chat from Josh David 2956. I totally missed that there was a new UA. They sound pretty sweet. I agree. I like the theme of this. I love magic and melee. I love gishes. It's my favorite thing. And in modern fantasy now, when we look at video games and everything else, we're not really seeing a lot of just straight fighters, we're always seeing something like The Witcher, right? A little bit of magic, a little bit of melee. That's, I think, a sweet spot for a lot of things. Right now, the Vestige Patron seems to be the most popular at 32%. Not shocked there. And we're going to go... How many other super chats do we have? I know I saw more. Chat was active. Sorry that I can't look through all of chat because chat is wildly active. Saf911, yo, playtest material dropped. Woot woot. I agree. I'm excited. Which subclass do you want to play first? Thank you, Buck Potter, for the super chat. 8397. I want to play the Warlock Patron, I think. The Warlock seems really fun. And I want to get crunchy with it, though I do like the Paladin. I think my two favorites, I love the idea of the Rogue. Powering up that sneak attack is nasty, nasty business. And I like the idea of stealing magic. Vestige Warlock, though. Very fun. Very good story there. Paladin's super nasty and probably too powerful, I think. But I could be wrong. David Dariample 2284 to our super chat. This is brother from Discworld, Small Gods. Yeah, very good point. Yeah. Good point. Any other super chats? That is it. Yeah, Vestige is really fun. And so the Rogue, I mean, it's a good thing to bring up in chat. And when someone just brought it up just now, because so many of the monsters now have spell-like abilities, but not actually casting spells, which is for simplicity, and I do agree with that change in the game. Because having spells with monsters is a little unwieldy for dungeon masters sometimes, or very often in my experience. So that does limit the Rogue into what it can do effectively. I think the two most powerful are the Vestige is super fun. I agree with chat. Vestige getting a multi-attack would be good. But I do like the abilities that it has. It's a nasty... the Paladin is a nasty bit of business for mages, for sure. Vestige Warlock. You've got your souped-up familiar. You got the souped-up Vestige. You basically got two creatures running around. Pretty strong. That Rogue does require you to have a spellcaster within the party, which you're going to have. So, yeah, I think Vestige is my favorite. So that's my personal opinion. I like the Vestige the most. I think I'm going to have to really look at the action economy. Maybe we just do that right now. Yeah, because I'm concerned with the action economy of Pact to the Blade. So you're using your bonus action to direct it. Let me check on that. Sorry for the wait. I am diving in right now. I should know this better. I just haven't got. I've been playing sorcerers lately, so I'm a little rusty on my Warlock. All right, we're getting into it. So we need to look first at Find Familiar. When you cast Find Familiar, you infuse the summon familiar with a measure of your eldritch power. fly speed or swim speed, quick attack, a bonus action. As a bonus action, you can command the familiar to take the attack action. So this is going to butt heads. Okay. We're going to have to side by side this stuff here. Hold on. Bringing up... your Vestige Companion. Okay, your Vestige Companion in combat. In combat, the Vestige acts during your turn. It can move and use its reaction on its own. But the only action it takes is the dodge action unless you take a bonus action to command it to take an action in its stat block or some other action. So you're burning your bonus action. You can sacrifice one of your attacks when you attack. You can also sacrifice one of your attacks when you take the attack action to command the Vestige to take the Vestige Strike action. If you have... Okay. Sorry, I'm really making sure I'm getting this right for the stream, everybody. So thank you for your patience. To take an action in its stat block. I'm assuming that also means commanding it to use one of its bonus actions. In combat... the Vestige acts on your turn. Unless you take a bonus action to command it to take an action in its stat block or some other action. You can also sacrifice one of your attacks with the attack action to command it to use its Vestige Strike. So it's only going to be doing that if you have a familiar. It's limited to the dodge action. Vestige Strike is melee or ranged. Equal to spellcasting modifier, 60 feet. Not a ton of damage, 1d6 plus 3. Pretty minor. But this thing's benefiting you in multiple ways. As a bonus action for investment of the Chainmaster, as a bonus action you can command your familiar to take the attack action. Alright. Whenever your familiar does bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, you can make it deal necrotic radiant instead. You can use a reaction to give it resistance. Boy. Okay. So I think the ideal thing here for a Warlock... So, base Pact of the Chain. You have the Find Familiar spell. You can get an Imp, a Pseudo-Dragon, Quasit, Skeleton, Slod, Tadpole, Sphinx, Wonder, Sprite, Venomous Snake. Skeleton's really great because they have a ranged attack, by the way, with a bow. Flying Skeleton, even nastier. And I don't think the other ones have ranged attacks. Additionally, when you use the attack action, you can forego one of your own attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack of its own reaction. So I'm just kind of doing this off the cuff. I would do a Pact of the Blade, Pact of the Chain, Warlock. I would get an extra attack with Pact of the Blade later on. Oof, this is getting nasty. I would give that attack instead to my familiar. This gets real finicky because you wouldn't want to sacrifice Eldritch Smite, but you're only losing one of yours. I'm gonna have to like build this character. I'm gonna have to build this character out. Yeah. I don't know if it makes sense to layer on your familiar plus this as well, but you do have a lot of creatures running around doing effects, so having a skeleton that flies, shooting a bow, doing radiant damage or necrotic damage is nice for replacing one of your attacks with a ranged attack. Though I think you're probably still better served to be a warlock with a longbow +1, dealing eldritch smites. And then you got your vestige dropping bonus action stuff. So you're taking an attack action back to the blade. Maybe you're trying to do a smite. You can have one of your familiars also shoot a bow as a flying skeleton, doing some necrotic damage, something like that. Then you have your vestige taking a bonus action to drop one of its many effects. You know, you're definitely spending a lot of plates, and that's a lot of actions for a warlock. That curse is pretty nasty. Target has disadvantage on attack rolls against you. Pretty good. It can do finish swap, teleporting between you, and it can heal. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I'm going to have to see how effective this is. I almost want to like run combat to test it out. I think the level that Paladin is pretty strong, and Warlock is pretty great as well. Yeah. I think some of the wording here needs to be more defined, and I think playtesting. Please playtest the Warlock. I think that's the one that gets pretty finicky. I'm really curious. I kind of want to run combat right now and figure it out. But that's it. What did you all think about Unearthed Arcana? I think I got to everyone's super chats. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Gifting subs to other people, super chats. That all helps. You know, me continuing to make streams like this, reacting to Unearthed Arcana on the fly, but also it's one of those years. So just liking, subscribing, being in chat, that all helps. Sharing the video on top of everything else. So right now, I really like the new Warlock. The Monk is pretty fun. Capstone ability maybe needs some altering for sure. Paladin is a nasty bit of business, and the Rogue, I like the concept. I think the Rogue is fun. Yeah. Definitely spinning off of the Arcane Trickster in a different direction. And supercharged sneak attack. You know, you got a buddy cop movie with you and a sorcerer casting spells. Lining up that supercharged sneak attack. Now, I did say a comment in UA how it's always too powerful and then it gets scaled down. Typically, it is easier to take a overly powerful class and a subclass and then reduce its power than it is to take something that was underpowered in playtest and then uppower it. That can be very difficult actually sometimes and get proper feedback. So UA, Unearthed Arcana by design, and a lot of playtest materials for tabletop are actually coming out a little more powerful than they should be, and then get scaled back. Does that happen every time? No. Arcane Archer is a very good example of that multiple years ago. So, and certainly the Arcane Archer got a bit of a glow up between two of its UAs. They are very responsive and reactive in their, in the feedback for Unearthed Arcana. So again, please go and fill out the surveys. And the big winner for all of this has been the Warlock. And wow, weirdly enough, the Monk 23%, Paladin 23%, Rogue 23%, and the Warlock 32%. The poll is ended. Pretty impressive numbers. Interesting. 182 people voted. Thank you so much. Wow, thank you, everybody. Yes, I am going to be back for the Critical Role pre-show. That will be happening relatively soon. I'm going to grab myself some food and get ready to talk for another couple of hours until I'm blue in the face. Hopefully my voice lasts that long. Thank you so much, everybody, for being in Super Chat. We got for the Super Chats, that is huge. Really appreciate you. Thank you, Buck Potter. I think this is a much better UA than some of the previous ones. I would like to see D&D put the UAs on D&D Beyond. I don't disagree. I would like that too. That's how we used to do it back in my day. But, bandwidth also. I think it's fun. So, I will be back. I have a pre-show for Critical Role where I just start right before Critical Role. We kind of break down all the plots that have been happening, theories, stuff like that, and honestly just kind of hang out and talk. It's also a nice Ask Me Anything kind of moment, so I'll be streaming for a while, so if you have questions about D&D, Daggerheart, Critical Role, the video game industry, the ending of Stranger Things, you can hit me up on all those things. I'll just be hanging out. It's a nice let's just chatting kind of atmosphere with everybody else. So hang out more. But I'm going to take a break. And thank you so much for hanging out. This is kind of my socialization with the D&D community. Any opportunity I get to do a live stream with all of you, I am profoundly happy and grateful. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and have a great night. I will see you all very soon. Bye.